Nobody in Marcus Thompson's life had any idea what he was building. Not his coworkers at the warehouse, not his neighbor, not even his own brother. Every night at 11 p.m., Marcus clocked into a shipping facility outside of Memphis, Tennessee, and spent 8 hours loading pallets onto truck. And every morning when his shift ended, while most of his coworkers went home to sleep, Marcus sat in his car in the parking lot for 45 minutes, doing something that would eventually change his entire financial future. But we will get to that in a moment, because the way Marcus invested his money, the specific order he chose, goes against almost everything you hear from financial influencers online. And honestly, when I first heard his story, I thought there had to be a catch. There was not. This is the real story of how a man earning $17.50 an hour on a night shift built a net worth that would shock anyone who looked at his beat-up Honda Civic or his modest two-bedroom apartment. And more importantly, I am going to walk you through the exact sequence he followed, step by step, because the order matters far more than most people realize. Let me set the scene for you. It is 2011. Marcus is 24 years old. He has no college degree. He has about $6,000 in credit card debt from a period when he was unemployed. He is living in a rental apartment with a roommate to split costs. His take-home pay, after taxes, is roughly $2,200 a month. By every conventional measure, Marcus is not someone you would look at and think, that guy is going to build serious wealth. And that is exactly the point, because wealth, real wealth, is almost never built by the people you expect. The average first-time millionaire in America reaches that milestone around age 37. Most of them are not celebrities. Most of them are not tech founders. A surprising number of them are people you would walk right past on the street without a second glance. And Marcus was determined to become one of them. So here's where his story gets interesting. And here's where I need you to pay close attention, because the order of operations is everything. Step 1. Marcus did not start by investing. He started by stopping the bleeding. That credit card debt at $6,000 was charging him around 22% interest. He did the math one night on a break at work and realized that if he only made minimum payments, he would end up paying almost $4,000 in interest alone over the years. So before he put a single dollar into any investment, he attacked that debt with everything he had. He picked up extra shifts when they were available. He ate rice, beans, canned vegetables, and whatever was on sale. He canceled every subscription he had. Within 11 months, the credit card balance was at zero. Now this might seem obvious, but you would be amazed how many people try to invest while they're carrying high-interest debt. It is like trying to fill a bathtub while the drain is wide open. Marcus understood instinctively that eliminating expensive debt was the first investment he could make in himself. The guaranteed return of not paying 22% interest was better than any stock pick he could have made. Step 2. This is the part where Marcus sat in his car every morning after his shift. Once the debt was gone, he did not immediately open a brokerage account. Instead, he started building what he called his Never Again fund. This was his emergency saving. He set a target of 3 months of living expenses, which for him came out to about $3,300. But here's what made Marcus different from someone who just reads a personal finance article and moves on. He automated it. He set up a direct deposit split with his employer so that a fixed amount went straight into a separate savings account every payday. He never saw that money hit his checking account. It was invisible to him. And he told me something that stuck with me. He said, if I can see it, I can spend it. So I made it disappear before I could touch it. It took him about 5 months to build that emergency cushion. And during those 5 months, every single morning after his shift, he sat in that parking lot reading. Not scrolling social media, reading. He started with a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. Then he read a personal finance book about index investing. Then he found a used copy of a book about the psychology of money. He consumed everything he could find about how ordinary people built wealth over time. That parking lot became his university, and it cost him nothing but time and the price of a few used paperbacks. Step 3. Now, this is where most people in the financial content world would tell you to open a brokerage account and start buying stocks. Marcus did not do that. His third move was to enroll in his employer's 401k plan. The warehouse he worked at offered a match of 50 cents on the dollar, up to 6% of his salary. Marcus called this free money, and he was right. By contributing 6% of his paycheck, he was getting an immediate 50% return on that money before it was even invested in anything. Let me say that again. 50% return, guaranteed, just for signing up. He chose a simple target date fund inside the 401k because he did not yet feel confident picking individual investments. And honestly, that simplicity was a strength, not a weakness. He was not trying to be clever. He was trying to be consistent. At $17.50 an hour working full-time, 6% came out to about $105 per paycheck. With the employer match, that became roughly $150 $57 every 2 weeks going into his retirement account. It was not a life-changing amount, but it was the seed. Step 4. This is the stage where Marcus started to separate himself from 90% of people in his income bracket. After getting the full employer match, he opened a Roth IRA. He chose a Roth specifically because he understood that at his current income level, he was in a low tax bracket. Paying taxes on the money now and letting it grow tax-free for decades made mathematical sense. He did not contribute the full annual maximum right away. He started with $50 a month, then $75, then $100. And inside that Roth IRA, he bought one thing, a total stock market index fund. That is it. No individual stock, no crypto, no complicated option strategies. One index fund that gave him exposure to thousands of American companies. He told me he picked it because he read that over any 30-year period in American history, diversified stock indexes have never lost money. And since he was 25 at the time and planning to hold until at least 60, he had a 35-year runway. The simplicity of this approach is what made it powerful. He was not trying to beat the market. He was trying to ride it. Now, here is where I need to address something, because I know some of you are watching this and thinking, okay, this is just basic personal finance advice. Emergency fund, 401k match, Roth IRA, index funds. What is so special about this? And you would be partially right. None of these individual steps are revolutionary, but here is what made Marcus extraordinary. He actually did them consistently for over a decade, while working nights, while tired, while his friends were buying new cars and shoes and going on vacations they could not afford. Studies show that roughly 41% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, not because they do not earn enough, but because spending tends to rise to meet whatever income is available. Marcus broke that cycle, not through willpower alone, but through systems, automation, invisibility. He structured his finances so that the right behavior happened without him having to choose it every single day. Step 5. Around 2015, about 4 years into his journey, Marcus did something that most financial advisors would not recommend for someone in his position. He started a side business, but it was not what you might expect. He did not launch an app or start a marketing agency. He bought a pressure washer for $400 and started cleaning driveways and decks on weekends. Remember, he worked nights, so his mornings were for sleeping, but his weekend afternoons were free. He printed flyers at the library for almost nothing and distributed them in middle-class neighborhoods near his apartment. His first month, he made $320. His second month, $600. By the end of that first summer, he was pulling in about $1,000 a month on weekends alone. And here is the critical part. Every single dollar from the pressure washing business went directly into his Roth IRA. Every dollar. He did not upgrade his apartment. He did not buy a new car. He funneled that side income straight into investments because he understood something that most people miss. The money you invest in your 20s and early 30s is the most valuable money you will ever invest because it has the longest time to compound. A dollar invested at age 28 with an average market return will be worth roughly $15 by age 65. A dollar invested at age 45 will only be worth about $4 by the same age. Marcus was obsessed with this math. He talked about compounding the way other people talk about sports teams. It was his thing. It was his edge. Step 6 came in 2017. Marcus had been promoted to a shift supervisor position, bumping his hourly rate to $21. His Roth IRA was maxed out. His 401k contributions had increased to 10%. His emergency fund had grown to 6 months of expenses. And for the first time, he opened a regular taxable brokerage account. Again, he kept it simple. The same total market index fund, a small allocation to an international index fund, and he added a bond index fund for about 10% of the portfolio, just to smooth out volatility. He was not day trading. He was not following stock tips. He was methodically, relentlessly, boringly putting money to work. And I use the word boringly on purpose because that is exactly what real wealth building looks like for the vast majority of people. It is not exciting. It is not glamorous. Nobody makes a movie about a guy who buys index funds every month for 15 years. But that is what works. Step 7, and this is the one that really surprised me. In 2019, Marcus bought his first rental property, a small 2-bedroom house in a working-class neighborhood in Memphis for $89,000. He put down 12% from his taxable brokerage account. This was the first time he had ever pulled money out of his investment, and he agonized over it. But he ran the numbers obsessively. The rental income, after mortgage, taxes, insurance, and a maintenance reserve, came to about $350 $250 per month in positive cash flow. That is $4,200 a year in additional income from an asset that was also appreciating in value and providing tax benefit through depreciation. Marcus did not stop contributing to his index funds. He just added real estate as another layer, another stream, another system working in his favor while he loaded pallets onto truck in the middle of the night. Now let me fast forward to where Marcus stands today. It is 2026. Marcus is 39 years old. He still works at the same warehouse, though he is now an operations manager making $62,000 a year. He still drives a Honda, though it is a slightly newer one. He still lives modestly, but his net worth across his 401k, his Roth IRA, his taxable brokerage account, and his rental property equity is just over $480,000 at 39 on a career that started at $17.50 an hour with no degree. And based on his current trajectory and contribution rate, he is on pace to cross the $1 million mark before his 46th birthday. Nobody at his job knows this. He does not talk about it. He does not post about it on social media. He does not wear expensive clothes or flash expensive watches. And this is perhaps the most important lesson from his entire story. Real wealth is quiet. It is invisible. It is built in parking lots at 6 in the morning while you are reading a book with tired eyes. It is built through systems that work even when you are exhausted. It is built by choosing the boring option over and over and over again while everyone around you chases the exciting one. I want to highlight something about the order Marcus followed because it matters enormously. He did not start investing while carrying high-interest debt. He did not skip the emergency fund to chase higher return. He did not ignore the free money from his employer match. He did not try to pick individual stock before he understood the basics. He did not jump into real estate before he had a solid foundation of liquid investments. Each step built on the one before it, like laying bricks. And if you rearrange those bricks, the whole structure weakens. Think about it this way. If Marcus had skipped the emergency fund and gone straight to investing, one car repair or medical bill could have forced him to sell investments at a loss or go back into credit card debt. If he had skipped the employer match to fund his Roth IRA first, he would have left free money on the table. If he had bought the rental property before building his index fund portfolio, he would have had no liquid reserves to handle vacancies or repairs. The sequence was not arbitrary. It was strategic, and each step created the safety net that allowed the next step to work. There's something else I want you to take away from this story, and it goes beyond the tactical steps. Marcus did not wait for perfect conditions. He did not wait until he had a higher paying job. He did not wait until the market was at an ideal entry point. He did not wait until he felt confident or knowledgeable enough. He started where he was, with what he had, and he improved along the way. That pressure washer he bought for $400 generated tens of thousands of dollars in investment capital over the years. Those used books he read in his car gave him more actionable financial education than most people get in 4 years of college. And perhaps most importantly, Marcus understood something that separates people who build wealth from people who just dream about it. He understood that time is the most valuable asset any of us possess. Not money, time. Every dollar he invested early bought him time later. Time that would eventually compound into freedom. The freedom to choose whether to keep working. The freedom to handle emergencies without panic. The freedom to help his family without going into debt. If you are watching this and you are working a job that feels like it will never get you anywhere financially, I want you to remember Marcus. Not because his story is flashy or dramatic, but precisely because it is not. He did not get lucky. He did not inherit anything. He did not stumble into some viral side hustle. He just followed a logical sequence, stayed consistent, and let time do the heavy lifting. The exact order he invested in was this. First, eliminate high-interest debt. Second, build an emergency fund. Third, capture every dollar of employer retirement match. Fourth, open and fund a Roth IRA with low-cost index fund. Fifth, start a simple side business and funnel that income into investments. Sixth, expand into a taxable brokerage account. Seventh, diversify into real estate once the foundation is solid. That is it. 7-step. No secrets, no shortcuts, no magic. Just discipline applied in the right order over a long enough period of time. And if a night shift worker loading pallets in Memphis can do it, so can you. The question is not whether you are capable. The question is whether you are willing to be invisible for long enough to let compounding do its work. Because wealth is not built in the moments everyone sees. It is built in the moments nobody notices. And that, more than any investment strategy or financial hack, is the real lesson of this story. If you found value in this, do do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for another person is show them what is possible when you simply refuse to quit.